Welcome to the Sport of Politics with Joel Robideaux on 1037 The Game, online at 1037thegame.com. We discuss the local issues affecting you and the Acadiana area with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideaux. From time to time, we'll have special guests and always make time to take your calls. Now, time for the Sport of Politics with Joel Robideaux. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
All right, welcome to the Sport of Politics on Acadiana Sports Station 1037 The Game and 1037thegame.com. Powered by Charlie G's, Louisiana done the Lafayette way, and our new sponsor we're happy to have, Butcher Air Conditioning. Joel's Ripken-esque streak of, I think, 6 shows in a row sadly comes to an end. He's a busy mayor president. But in his place, we have plenty of guests. Charles Wyatt, Terry Huval, and to begin with, Sidra Windcarter. Did I get the name right?
You got it.
I got it. All right. Do we know the starting quarterback of UL? That's all anybody really cares about.
Of course we do.
Jordan Davis.
I heard it was Dave Schultz.
No. I'm just trying to get HUD to run a 5K with me. Can we get HUD to do a 5K? I ran the stairs.
I'm pretty sure he'd make you look bad.
5K? Yeah, I started talking trash when I took the lead on protecting the field run.
That's right.
And he had a bad Achilles. Yeah, he didn't want to lose to the old radio guy. Even though we're about the same age. Okay, Lafayette's
speaking of talking trash.
Right. Bam. Bam. That's why you're here. Okay, what's going on? What, you guys won an award?
Yeah, so just to share a little bit of good news, we've got our Department of Environmental Quality, the Louisiana State Department of Environmental Quality, recognized our LCG's drainage department and our partners over at Bayou Vermilion District for a trash trap. We received a leadership award. We actually have a trash trap that's in the water. It's in a branch that flows into the Vermilion River. It's all the rain drain storms that flow from the downtown area and the university flow into this particular branch before they hit the Vermilion River. And we have a trash trap that actually collects all the litter that's floating on top of the water. And we received an award for that. So far, we've collected 135 cubic feet, so over 135 cubic yards, over 400 cubic feet of litter that would have ended up in the Vermilion River, and ultimately the Vermilion Bay and the Gulf of Mexico, and who knows where from there.
Right.
We're really excited that we were able to stop that litter. We still have a major litter problem. We're working on that, but at least we can catch some litter before it, moves on and gets into our wildlife.
So that was a man-made project?
Yes, a man-made project. It's a trash trap, and our guys go out and they actually pick up the trap in conjunction with the Bayou Vermilion guys. They dedicate their days to cleaning up the Vermilion River. It's pretty impressive of what they do, and it's still sad that we have a long way to go.
So when did this start?
I think the trash trap's been in place for about 18 months, 24 months, something like that.
Oh, okay. So it just started a year or two.
Yeah, relatively new. It comes from other cities.
Sure, I was going to say, it sounds like a great idea.
D.C. actually has a couple of them. They're pretty expensive. I think about $15,000. They're not cheap, but in terms of what they can do, yeah, it's a great investment. And so this is one. We'd love to have another one, but we're doing what we can. It's a great start.
Where would you put the other one?
I really don't know, but there's lots of opportunities.
Right.
If you've had the opportunity to take a tour down the Vermilion River, and you'll hear a little bit about how you can do that later, you'll see, unfortunately, that there's a lot of litter in our river.
Right.
Biggest culprit being plastic water bottles. There's also a lot of styrofoam cups, kids' balls. You wouldn't believe what ends up in this trash trap. I've seen like those giant Barbie Jeeps before. There's been televisions in there. You hope that, it's all in there by accident, that,
How does a TV get in there by accident?
Yeah, I know. Somebody tripped. I don't know. Dropped their TV when they were moving. I don't know. But that's the thing, is people don't realize when you drop something on the street and when there's a rain event, a storm, that litter goes into the storm drain. And those storm drains lead directly to the river. There's no filtration system that stops your trash from going into the river. So just think about that next time.
And then there was a whole front yard project.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like over 100,000 pounds of trash?
Right.
Right?
Front yard. Yeah,
Right.
We had a debris drop just recently, a couple weekends ago, and it was allowed people to bring the things that their normal garbage collection won't pick up. And yeah, it was a pretty successful. And not only that, in terms of the pounds that you mentioned, but also over 200 tires were collected. And
Goodness.
tires, they have to be handled in a very special way.
Right.
You can't just throw those away. If they end up in the landfill, they catch fire and they just burn
Right.
almost, without end. And not only that, but they're a public safety issue in the sense that they are the number one breeding ground for mosquitoes. And so right now with, the threat of the Zika virus and, West Nile is a reality. That's a serious issue. And it's just annoying. Mosquitoes.
Right. Yes.
Not
yeah,
you.
Very much. Well, Joel would say different. Dave Schultz along with Sidra Wingirter. Got it right?
You got it.
All right. That's 2 for 2. All right. So we went through Mardi Gras. Now we have Festival de International.
Right.
Coming up. Festival International de Louisiane.
Sure.
All right. What's going on with that?
Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. Project Vineyard is going to be. That's funny. You're so funny.
Well, you mentioned it.
We're going to be partnering up with a festival to try to control some of the litter actually through Project Front Yard. We've got a great festival. It's the world's largest free francophone festival, so French speaking.
Right.
I think they've got over 70 acts this year. It's like big as it's ever been. 70 French speaking bands. I mean, that's pretty incredible. And we're going to be focusing on their Go Green campaign, which is all about reducing the waste that happens at festival. And then we're also going to go out and actually have trash mobs where it's like a flash mob, but we're picking up trash. And so we're, again, talking trash. And we're really excited to partner up with Festival. It's a wonderful time. It's a great economic driver for the community. And so we're just trying to make it not just greener, but also a little bit cleaner this year.
All right. We had Liz Hebert on last week.
Yes.
I know she had her meeting
Right.
earlier this week for the Kelly
It was
Saloon
on Tuesday.
expansion. Any update on that?
I know that it was well attended. I know that it's a hot topic.
Right.
And I know that there's just a lot of work that still needs to be done. Unfortunately, this is a major project, and it's not something that can be rushed. And it's really not something that you want to rush. You want to make sure it's done right. So I hope that the residents were able to get some of the answers that they were seeking in terms of, where we are with it. But it was well attended, and I know it was well covered.
So say when you say it was a hot topic, it sounds like please get this started as soon as possible.
That's right. That's
that type
right.
of situation.
Yeah, because traffic is an issue, almost anywhere in this
Right.
city, and certainly on that Kali Saloon area, if you live where it goes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes,
Right.
and you're trying to get to work or to school or wherever. I can only imagine how frustrating that must be.
Have you made a trip to Nordstrom Rack yet? Or is that a rhetorical question?
Well, I've had a busy week. We were planning a parade and a concert, so I
Right,
didn't
right,
make it.
right,
although
right.
I had hoped to for sure. I
Blaze Pizza yet?
actually, yeah. a couple
there you
nights-
go.
Yeah, like
Right.
2 nights ago.
All
Yeah,
right.
I sure did.
And then Dickie's Barbecue is coming in.
Yes, I can't wait.
That's opening up today.
I'm a big barbecue fan.
So am I.
I don't feel
Yeah.
like we have enough barbecue places in Lafayette.
Right. Well, speaking of that, now
Yeah.
there's is the meeting for the bars downtown? Is that coming up, or did we already have that?
So there's been a couple of meetings, and I'm not sure where we are right now with the stance, but
Right.
yeah, it seems that there was a meeting recently, and I think that most of the people that were in attendance were generally supportive of the conditional use permit. So the opportunity for the Planning and Zoning Commission to, take those cases for applications for bars on a one-on-one basis, on a case-by-case basis. So I think generally people were in favor of that idea.
Has there been any word on how restaurants? I mean, again, there's at least a half a dozen going into the Costco Center, right? I mean,
Right.
it seems to be a bunch. World of Beer is coming, so that's probably Uber.
Priorities.
Uber.
That's right.
All right, Uber. But there's plenty coming into town. Have we had any inclination on how the economy has affected the ones that are already here? Because I heard, and again, I'm sorry, it was,
Sure.
during Mardi Gras,
Mhm.
and then maybe it could be just Mardi Gras, restaurants were packed. People
Right.
could not get in to go to dinner.
Right. I don't have the specifics on that. I know overall retail sales were down, have been down, have continued to be down. But like you said, observation-wise, I mean, the restaurants continue to be packed. When I
Right.
go out, they continue to be packed. Lafayette in general is just a community that embraces food,
Eating. Yes.
And I've also heard, speaking of world of beers, it's been told to me many times that beer and chocolate are recession proof. So, let's hope that continues to be the case.
I help out with the chocolate.
And I think here maybe food is recession proof.
Right. Very well.
Good food. Good food.
All right. Where do you want to go next?
Well, we can talk a little bit about some rain barrels real quick, if that's
Please do.
right.
Okay.
So we annually with LUS, my friend here, Terry Huval, is with the director of Lafayette Utility System, along with LCG. We annually have a rain barrel program where people can purchase a rain barrel people who live within the city of Lafayette and unincorporated areas of the parish can purchase a rain barrel at a discounted rate. It's a limited time offer, and it's a limited quantity, limited to 300. And if you've got a rain barrel in the past, you're unfortunately not eligible. But the rain barrel is a great thing for people who are interested in collecting the rainwater and using that for gardening, watering your lawns. If you use a soaker hose, a rain barrel is definitely something that you should consider looking into. It also helps with a stormwater runoff, which is important for our river and our water as well.
All right, you can give us a call on the ropesoapanddope.com hotline. Sport of Politics on Acadiana Sports Station 103.7 The Game. Phone number is 706-0111, 706-0111. Terry Huval coming up next.
Actually, I think we're going to have Charles
Wyatt.
All
right, Charles Wyatt first. All right, little curveball. Or that may be me. All right, swung and miss. All right, stay tuned for more sport of politics on Acadiana Sports Station 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com and mobile app powered by McDonald's.
Come down and celebrate our festival down in Acadiana.
Dave Schultz back on the Sport of Politics. Our Mayor President Joel Robideaux out for today's show. He'll be expected back next week. If you do want to ask some questions, though, of our guests, and we do have a couple more to go here today, you're welcome to give us a call, 706-0111, 706-0111 on the ropesoapanddope.com hotline. We'll talk with Terry Huval here momentarily, or on the next segment with LUS. But let's bring in Charles Wyatt, president of the Bayou Vermilion Preservation Association. What is your job, sir?
Basically, my job is trying to educate, or I'll say my job, really, the Bayou Vermilion Preservation Association. We work very closely with the city and their Project Front Yard, and we're trying to prevent the placement of, or the throwing of the styrofoam cups and the beer cans and the basketballs into the river. Sidra mentioned the award that they won, and we're trying to reduce the amount of trash so that our partners at the Bayou Vermilion District can put some of their workers into more profitable things. Also, if we reduce the trash, you can improve the quality of the river, increase recreational use, impact upon the wildlife and the fishing, and even tourism. So there are multiple benefits by cleaning up the river, and we're trying to prevent the throwing of all the debris into the storm sewer. As Sandra mentioned, if it gets into a street, it goes in the storm drain and goes into the coulee and goes into the river. So that's what we're trying to do, is tell people don't throw things into the street.
Okay, so how do you prevent that to begin with, other than just telling people not to throw TVs into a river?
Well, it's an educational process, and we're working with the schools and trying to, we had the painted poster contest again through the Clean City contest, and we sponsored a financial award with the children that won at the poster, and also gave the Clean Schools a little stipend to help it. But if we feel that if we start working with the children, then if they're driving down the street and they see mom or dad throwing something in the street, maybe the child will say, Dad, you shouldn't do that. And by the time they become teenagers, then they will be, and I hate to use the term indoctrinated, but
sure.
They will realize that they shouldn't do it. And then, this may be a 5 or 10 year project.
Right.
But you got to start somewhere.
And so how long have you been doing it for?
That's 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we're a 501c3 not-for-profit Louisiana corporation, and we just started in 13. And the Louisiana Wildlife Foundation awarded us the Conservation Organization of the Year for the year 2014. So for only 2 years to win a state award was quite rewarding.
And we're talking with Charles Wyatt, the president of the Bayou Vermilion Preservation Association, on the sport of politics. So kind of good news and bad news. We got a trash trap that's working, but it's picking up a lot of trash.
Right, and we're just trying to eliminate the amount of trash.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually we have something that is working. It's effective, but we want to pick up less trash.
But again, that is only in one coulee.
Right.
And there are multiple coulees.
Okay.
Or people driving across the bridge, they can just throw things directly into the river.
Right.
And that will bypass the collection. So we're just trying to
have you ever busted
nip
anybody?
the bud at the source.
Have you ever busted anybody throwing something into the river? Have you ever seen somebody do it yourself?
No, but we've seen paint coming out of the one of the storm drains, and the environmental control people traced it and found out where the house painter was.
Oh.
And he was cleaning out his brushes, and it got into the storm, which went into the river.
Right.
Heavy fine.
Okay. All right.
So there are, and we're helping a little bit from that standpoint that we have put mile markers on all the bridges on the entire Vermilion River from Arnoldville down to the Intercoastal Canal. So that's assisting the DEQ people, because if they see a spill, they now know it's between mile marker 1 and mile marker 4.
All right. So what is also the effects? We heard Sidra say, the tires are this great breeding ground for mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are the other effects that preventing the trash from getting into the river can have?
Well, actually, I mean, you get down to it, anything gets into the river will degrade, and anything that degrades takes up oxygen. So anything that is in the river, i.e. wildlife, the fishes, even the plants and what have you, it will upset the entire ecostructure. So if we can keep the materials out of the river and the degradation, and I'm talking even leaves and storm grass. So, I mean, the neighbor cuts his grass, and at that point in time, it goes into the storm drain and sucks up all the oxygen, and that has this negative effect.
A little bit difficult keeping leaves out of the river if there's trees on the banks of the river.
Well, that's true, but it's more difficult when all the trees and grass cutting within all the cities and the neighborhoods.
Sure.
It makes it difficult.
Sure. All right, so what are the plans? You're saying you're getting the kids involved, and that's a really good start. I mean, you could say something along the lines like take seatbelts, for example. That was something that I know New York State was like one of the first ones to do it.
Car seats.
Car seats, exactly. And you start it somewhere, and then everybody does it, and they complain about it at the beginning, and then it's
second nature.
Second nature now, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And so, what are the other steps? So getting the kids is almost step number 1. What would be step number 2?
Well, if I can kind of deviate a little bit from
away, Charles,
from that particular question, because I wanted to bring up to your listening people that on this coming Monday, the 4th, we are having a familiarization tour, and this is a combination bus and boat tour. It will start at the Bayou Vermilion District, Vermilionville, at 8:15.
Right.
We're going to go then down to Abbeville and get on a boat, be on a boat for about an hour. And then we'll come back and have a lunch at the Southside Park. And then we will go to the Bandalon unit, which is what Sandra was just mentioning. From there, then we will go up to Crotch Springs, which is where the Tesh Vermilion Freshwater District has their pumping station, and that regulates the flow and the depth of water in both the Tesh and the Vermilion. So it's an all-day project, and it's free. And if anybody is interested, they could go to the website, which is www.bayouvermilionorganization.org, and they could look at what we're doing, and if they're interested and would like to join us, they can register online.
And where do they meet you again?
At Vermilionville, Bayou Vermilion District in Vermilion, right across from the airport.
Okay, very good. Be sure to have 103.7 The Game tuned in. It's opening day, Astros-Yankees. All right, game time 12:05. So right at lunch.
Yep.
And you're right there, the new home of the Astros. All right, so
going back to your original question, what else
right.
are we doing? We have quarterly seminars, and they're called the Clean Stream Project, and then we have an annual symposium, and this will be held in September, and the title of this year is Backyard to the Bayou. And we're trying to bring speakers in and demonstrations and things of this nature to try and show the John Q. Public individual that what he does in his yard does impact the river, so that one person is not many, but two people or three people. And again, that kind of is an offshoot of the project Front Yard from the city. And we're just calling it the backyard to the bayou. And we have a seminar every year. And from that, then we will display the winning posters that came in the Clean City and try and generate some interest.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Tour is, you said, an all-day deal.
It's all day, but you can
Okay.
register half day, morning only, afternoon only, or
Okay.
all day.
Right.
And that's on the website and whatever's convenient for them. And our hope that is if somebody is interested, that they'll come and they'll see what it's all about. And then, if they're at a party or having coffee or having lunch with one of their associates, that they might tell people what we're doing, and the word of mouth spreads.
All right. Charles Wyatt. Tour is April 4th at 8:15, you said.
8:15. The bus leaves Vermilionville at 8:15.
All right. Fantastic. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you so
you
much
very
for being
much.
on the Sport of
Appreciate it.
Politics. All
Thank
right.
you.
Sharp dresser. I don't like it when people dress better than me. He's looking better than I am, folks. Look at that tie, matching the shirt and the eyes. Nice job. All right, we'll be back with Sport of Politics. More Sport of Politics. Terry Hoovel from LUS going to join us after these messages on a Acadiana Sports Station, 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com and mobile app powered by McDonald's.
Now, back to Sport of Politics on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideaux. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
All right, back on the Sport of Politics. You're welcome to give us a call, 706-0111, 706-0111. Joel Robideaux is out, so we'll start a new streak next week. We got Terry Hoovel in from the LUS, the utility systems. How did it Lafayette? This is amazing. Only because it's small. How did Lafayette become one of the leaders in internet speed? I think not only in America but in the world. I think it's top 5 in America.
Well, being quite candid about it is because
Please do.
We got some smart people in Lafayette.
There you go.
Them Cajuns can figure that out.
Right.
Tu comprends, huh?
I have no idea what you're
You
saying.
understand?
Keep on talking.
Yeah, you know what really
Keep it
helped?
clean.
The beginning of the fiber system took place in 1896 when the utility system was formed. The people of the city of Lafayette said, we're not going to wait for some company to bring electricity to Lafayette. We're going to bring it to ourselves. So the city of Lafayette citizens voted to establish their own electric and water system. And that set up the infrastructure that 100 years later allowed us to be able to get into the telecommunications business for the same reason, because we wanted big broadband in Lafayette sooner, not later. We didn't want to have to wait for the private companies to decide that a third-tier city like Lafayette, as they consider us to be, was worthy of receiving that kind
Right.
of infrastructure. So the citizens of the city of Lafayette voted for us to build this fiber optic system. And we've gotten all sorts of accolades. I'm going to Austin next week to tell
Nice.
other people around the country, how we did it, how we fought off the lawsuits, how we developed our market share, how we dealt with, all the adversity that we had to deal with to create a very successful system.
And can it get bigger and better? Or where are we now? What's the fastest speed that you can get at home?
Right now
LUS?
at home, we could bring up to 2 gigabits per second.
Goodness.
Now, we don't have anybody buying that yet.
Right, right.
But 1 gigabit per second, we have that and have had it now for the last 3 years. And we're selling that product for very cheap. It's like about $70 if you
Right,
buy the rest
right.
of the stuff that we have with it. And there was a survey that was done about a year and a half ago that said we had the fastest internet in the world.
Yeah.
So it's put us in very, very high company, and a very proud thing for our community. And the future is all on the internet. The whole idea of cable TV and telephone, that's going to continue to dwindle down to, at some point, people aren't going to use it that way. A lot of the young folks don't do it that way anyway.
Right, right.
But internet is where it's king. And that's what we built our system for, is to make sure that we will always be on the cutting edge of the fastest and most reliable internet in the world.
And how has that affected the economy here in Lafayette?
Well, it looks like it's done some good things. There's several companies that have said that their choice to come to Lafayette wasn't just based on fiber. That wouldn't be very fair to say that. But when you look
Based on food.
well, of course, based on food, based on the university, based on the labor pool that they have here. But the fiber system was a differentiating factor that we had in Lafayette that other communities don't have, because all the guys across the river, could say, well, we've got a good university and we've got good food and we've got whatever, but they don't have the fiber. So that differentiating factor, we think, has been something that's brought businesses to Lafayette. Certainly has brought citizens to Lafayette because we're a growing entity. We got add new customers to our telecommunication system every day.
Well, I'm an LUS internet customer, that's for sure. So how would it, you said that this was voted on in 1896, laying the groundwork literally.
Right.
So how would new communities, or not new communities, but how would communities be able to do this now?
Well, first of all, they got to have a lot of backbone,
Right.
And they got to have elected officials that are willing to fight the fight. It was a tough fight for us,
Right.
There's a state law that was passed by the large telecom companies that makes it very, very difficult for a community to do what we did in Lafayette. But we said we don't care what they pass. We're going to follow the law. And we're going to get it done. And it was a tough fight. And we got it done. We had lots of lawsuits thrown at us. We had lots of delays, lots of costs that we had to do. It cost us $4 million just fighting lawsuits and having to hold an election and all sorts of crazy things
Right.
because of what was passed in Baton Rouge. So the good news that we made it happen. The bad news that there's no other city in Louisiana that has been brave enough to try to do this. And so I guess the private telecom companies won in that respect. But if you have a strong enough community that wants to make this happen, it can take place, and we'd be happy to tell them how to do it. We have helped other entities around the country to be able to do this because of telling them what to watch out for, how to prepare, how to what kind of research, what kind of due diligence they need to do. You just can't dream this stuff up and have it
Right.
happen. It's got like any business. It's got to have a strong business case to support what you're trying to make happen.
An example, and this is maybe not be all that updated, but I know New York City, obviously not a whole lot of houses in New York City. It's all apartment buildings. They even had issues with cable television in their buildings. So and that's New York City. You would think they'd be at the forefront of the technology, but they're not.
Just this past weekend,
Right.
I was in New York City because my youngest son,
Right.
is in the Lafayette High band program, and they played at Carnegie Hall.
No
this past
kidding.
Saturday. They played
Wow.
Carnegie Hall.
And you didn't bring me back a pastrami sandwich?
That's right. And we stayed at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yes.
And I went to try to get my boarding passes in the business center of the Roosevelt
Right.
Hotel, and I spent 25 minutes getting nothing. I have
Right.
never seen such slow internet in my life. I
Right.
thought it was so embarrassing. In fact, I made sure the management of the Roosevelt Hotel knew that Lafayette, Louisiana wouldn't have that problem.
That's right. Yeah. You know what? I think my father at one point in time went to Lafayette High, but in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
in Brooklyn.
They
I think
probably,
it's-
didn't, they probably didn't pronounce it Lafayette either.
Not Lafayette, no.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce it even right down here? Because
Yeah.
everybody else pronounces it Lafayette. But
Yeah.
down here, it's Lafayette, which is okay.
It's Lafayette unless you're speaking in French, and it's Lafayette.
Lafayette.
So if you're going to speak in French, it's okay, but otherwise it's Lafayette.
And probably in Brooklyn, they pronounce it a different way as
we
well.
can always tell the étrangers here when they show up and they say something other than Lafayette, then we know they're not from this area.
I've given that away many of times.
Yeah.
I've given that away many times. All right, stick around for another segment. We'll talk about other things.
Yes, sir.
All right, Terry Huval from LUS. We'll talk about the water down here. That's what we've been mostly discussing on the Sport of Politics on Acadiana Sports Station 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. Powered by Charlie G's, Louisiana, done the Lafayette way, and Butcher Air Conditioning. We'll be back after this.
Back to Sport of Politics on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com.
Welcome back to the Sport of Politics. Dave Schultz, along with Terry Huval, whose son Andre played for UL. You can't tell me who the starting quarterback is going to be, can you?
No, I cannot.
No. All right, I still can't. It's like,
I'm pledged to secrecy.
Again, the line is, it's easier to find out Hillary Clinton's email than to find out who the starting quarterback is for UL. Anyway, we're on the Sport of Politics on Acadiana Sports Station 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. Also, Friday mornings on KDCG TV. All right, Terry, we talked about the LUS internet system. Fantastic. Let's talk about the water. And this is, there's a drought in California, serious drought in California. The water is poisoned in Flint, Michigan, maybe permanently, due to lead and the changing of the, source. How is the water safer down here? I'm drinking a lot of water lately.
Oh, the water is very safe here. We get our source water from the Chico Aquifer, which is a large underground water reservoir that at one point we had it dated, and the water we taken out of the reservoir is about 1,500 years old, so it doesn't get affected by current elements.
Right.
It's protected by a very hot, deep clay barrier, and it stretches all the way from the Gulf of Mexico to around Alexandria to the Chapalaya River to the Texas border.
No
It's
kidding.
a very, very large reservoir. It's a very safe reservoir for us. So the good news is that we've been blessed with having a very good, solid, safe water source to begin with. Then, secondly, we built our system to make sure that we treat the water the way that customers want it to be treated,
Right.
and that we follow all the rules that needs to be. In fact, many times we've won the best tasting water in the state and in the region because of the work that we've done there. So in our case, and we have to go through this testing of lead and water. And really
Sure.
the issue with lead is not in the utility company side for the most part. It's usually on the homeowner side.
Right.
Because they might have pipes that have maybe lead solder or in
Right.
certain older homes. But we test whatever sample that the environment, the regulatory entities tell us to do so. And we have either none or very, very, very low levels in certain people's homes. So in our case, we're in very good shape. No one should worry about the quality of the water from LUS. What happened in Flint, Michigan is horrible. Somebody should have lost their job.
Well,
A lot of people should have lost their job because what they did is that they changed from a water source that didn't create a problem to a water source that did. You know, I mean, anybody that operates systems like this knows that you just don't go and willy-nilly make that kind of change without doing some testing, you know, making sure you've done your homework, et cetera. And it's created a national crisis unnecessarily. And sometimes in our country, we instead of, you know, beating the guys over the head that really screw up, we start trying to have to, you know, reinvent the entire wheel, which is kind of unfortunate because I've heard so much time in D.C. being wasted on this particular issue. But the good news in the city of Lafayette, you don't have to worry. The water is safe.
Well, the odd part about that is that the governor now wants D.C. to come in and save him for what we were told was saving $100 a month, something like that. Is that what it was? Was $100 a day or $100 a month? It just wasn't worth it. And this has been going on for almost 2 years, if not a year and a half. And, of course, no one wants to take responsibility. IQs in kids are way down. It's permanent damage because literally, you know, we always heard this with pencils, right? Lead poisoning. Well, this is now permanent damage. And, you know, you're saying that people should have lost their jobs, and some people have. I think the emergency manager resigned. But someone, if not multiple people, are going to end up incarcerated.
Well, and the deal is it costs a whole bunch of money. But that's there. Those guys up north sometimes they don't get it. But we but we've got it done right in Lafayette, and we're, you know, our water system is owned. In fact, our entire system is owned by the citizens of the city of Lafayette. It's my job and the job of all the people who work for me to make darn sure that we do what's necessary to keep that system operating safely, keep the rates as low as they can be, and provide reliable service.
But could you imagine making such a mistake and then not trying to correct it, even though they found out that they had made the mistake shortly after they made it, and yet they just decided not to? I guess they figured out if they admitted they made a mistake, they'd be held accountable, and they just let it run its course. And
that's not very prudent.
I mean, is it permanent damage now? Can they fix it? Is it fixable without the millions and millions?
Look, all I know is what I hear in the news.
Sure,
so
which
I'm
is
not
the same
about
thing.
ready to speculate on that.
Right. Okay. What else do we got going here? You guys are doing. I mean, I love the whole. Let's see here. LUS update. Electric rates are 10% below last year, and a 30% reduction in coal use.
Yes, that's a good thing. What's happened is the kind of the new regime and how we end up generating electricity or being able to buy it from the system has allowed us to be able to sometimes buy power at a cheaper price than we can generate it ourselves, because in some places there's some more efficient generating units that are available. Also, the whole sensitivity with coal has been one I've picked up every now and then. Coal is a very important part of our profile, and the reason why it is, by the way, is in the late 70s. And you might have been around in the late 70s. I'm guessing I
was around here, but I was around, certainly.
In the late 70s, the Carter administration decided that because of OPEC and so on, that we were running out of natural gas and all. And that's when gasoline prices initially started going up. And as a result of that, the federal government said that utility companies could no longer build any power plants that use natural gas or oil. But all we had in Lafayette were natural gas and oil,
Right.
because that's the resource that we have available
Sure.
to us. People in other parts of the country had coal available too, and that's what they use. Well, so we invested in a coal plant because if we wouldn't have done so, we'd be out of the electric business completely. So we did that, and now they're trying to outlaw the coal side. So
Right.
it's kind of how things go on the federal government side. But the good news is that we've dropped significantly how much coal we use, but we still have to keep that plant in operation to meet some of the reliability requirements to build and provide services. So that's a real positive thing. And as a result of buying power on the grid, we're able to get it at a cheaper price, pass on that savings directly to our customers.
And then you received a top industry award for safety?
Yes. We folks sometimes don't realize the dangers that the electricity lineman has to do in climbing a pole, getting into 13,000, 6 to 9,000 volt systems. The work we have to do in dealing with water and sewer also has their hazards associated with it. And this past year, we were given one of the top awards in the whole country for publicly owned utility systems like Lafayette. There's about 2,000 publicly owned utility systems, of which Lafayette's in about the top 50 or so. Just to let you know, publicly owned systems are things like that have their own utility systems like Jacksonville, Florida, San Antonio, Los Angeles, California, and so on. So to be recognized in that big crowd as having the safest program in the country this year is really a great testament to what our guys are doing in the field.
I mean, Lafayette is literally cleaning up with the awards. It's almost an upset if you guys don't win the award.
Well, we know that there's always sunny days and cloudy days, but we're always happy that when we can do some things that where people recognize not only our own customers but also those on the outside.
All right, now you mentioned you're going to Austin. Is that for the internet?
Yes,
for the fiber optic?
yes. I was invited to go and speak to two different groups there, one on Monday and one on Wednesday, to talk about our experience in bringing up a system, some of the things that we, potential pitfalls and things we learned in the process to help others with that. Also to talk about how economic development was spurred on our community and things that we did to proactively be able to do that. So it's and I'm sure once a month I'm getting a phone call or being part of a conference call or whatever to talk about what we did here, because the unique thing about the Lafayette internet system is that even though we're a governmental entity, we built it like a business. There's only two ways that we got money to build that system. One was we had to borrow it, just like a new business.
Sure.
We got in business. And the second thing is that we had to earn it. That was it. There was no government gifts. There was no government grants. There was none of that. We had to build it basically from scratch. And so to take something that we had 0 customers on day one and get to where we have about 37% of the market already and about 8 years of operation is a real testament to the support that we had from the community as well as the kind of system that our employees built.
Is there a goal? I mean, outside of 100%?
Well, what the goal is to have enough money coming in
Right.
to where we always are able to pay our annual debt service, pay our operating costs, to have enough cash to reinvest in the system. And as things stand now, we are very comfortable in doing that. We've been paying our debt from day one. We've always met our debt service payments. We've always paid all our operational costs. The big challenge for us is getting enough cash to reinvest in the system. And as we've grown up enough, we've had enough profit so we can do that. And plus we're putting money back into the city general fund to support the
Right.
cost of police and fire protection to the tune of an extra $200,000 a year. That's going to increase up to $1.2 million a year in 2021, coming from fiber that the city would not have otherwise gotten. Instead of having taxes raised, we're able to generate those revenues to not only provide a competitive service to our community, but also to be able to support the cost of running local government.
Government done right. How about that? Something
Yes.
new and different.
Lafayette's a very special city.
So you mentioned how cable and phone is going to get lesser as we go along. I'm looking to be one of those guys to cut the cord, or else just get the channels that I want to watch.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
okay.
Get channels you just want to watch. Now, at some point, you may be able to do that through the internet, but the playing the game with the guys that own the rights to channels of ESPNs, the Disney.
Well, that's the big one, right?
The negotiation with them is you can call that a negotiation, is pretty tough, because we don't have a whole bunch of choice. We got to carry those kind of channels to be able to be successful in our business.
Right.
And they know we have to have it. So therefore, they say basically, here's how much we want to charge you. And we say, okay, I guess we're going to have to pay. But we try our best to negotiate. And we have different techniques we've used that's helped us to do that. But that's a tough part of the game. down the road, I think customers will be able to get to see what they want to see by having their own subscriptions with the providers through the internet. But through cable TV, for folks to get what they want, it's just that business model doesn't work that way because the guys who got to get programming from one.
Well, yeah. I mean, the four-letter network is, that subsidizes almost everything else, and we subsidize, or everybody else subsidizes that channel for us, and they double dip. Not only do they sell advertising and a lot of it, but they get the subscription rate, per customer. So that's where they make their money, but they're starting to lose subscribers, and people are cutting the cord.
Which is why they're doing that.
Right.
And, in the old days, my grandmother used to say, we used to call that utility bill she received each month the light bill, because the reason why they had electricity initially was for lights, and then look at all things to do with electricity. Same thing's happening with the internet. The idea of having telephone and cable TV will become less and less as time goes on, and we made our investment on banking on the internet for the long term. Telephone and cable TV were just part of what we had to do to be part of this business.
Well, that's a good bet. Terry Hooval from LUS, thanks very much for stopping by Sport of Politics. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right, we got American Idol. Big news coming up tonight. We got to see if we can get our guy, Mackenzie Borg, to the final three. He was in town. Apparently, we may have a, Clint Domain sighting tonight on American Idol. We'll be back with more Sport of Politics after this on Acadiana Sports Station 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com.
Now, back to Sport of Politics on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideaux. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
All right, back on the Sport of Politics. Joel off for the week. He'll be back next week. Don't worry, Joel. We'll get you back. All right. Going on vacation this summer. And then SEC Media Day, so you'll have to carry it. At that point in time, Sidra Woodger back with us on Sport of Politics on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. Also on Friday mornings, KDCG TV at 7. All right, so last weekend was spectacular. I was at the Teague doing the ball game on TV when, someone got a police escort to the Teague. I know it wasn't me. Mackenzie Borg making all kinds of ruckus.
Yeah, it was an incredible day. We were really proud that Mackenzie made it into the top 4, and he earned his hometown visit.
Right.
Lafayette's going to be featured tonight on American Idol, so we really want to encourage everybody to tune in starting at 7 o'clock. And gosh, last week was just incredible.
Yeah, how many people showed up for the concert? I mean, it looked like it was full.
Absolutely. So Park International holds about 7,000 people, and we were pretty full. So we know that it was more than 6,000 people that were there for the concert. We had a parade before. The activities really started off on Friday night. He landed. It was pretty cool because, made it to the top 4, but all but the top 4 are from Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. So all the idols were actually on the same plane. They stopped in Dallas first. Then when they landed in Lafayette, all 3 idols were on the plane. So they were kind of peeking through. We had the press on the runway, on the tarmac, and we had the local TV stations. So hopefully we made them a little bit hopeful that they would get the same kind of homecoming. We had a press conference immediately following with Mackenzie. And the next day was just jam-packed. Started off, as you mentioned, over at the Teague. We had just an incredible turnout of a tailgate. We represented Lafayette beautifully. Crawfish boil. There was some incredible footage that American Idol was able to get, just showing the love and the unique culture that Lafayette has. I think we did a really good job of giving the producers a lot of great footage, and I hope we made their job hard in sense that they don't know what to cut out. And then Mackenzie did throw out the first pitch, and they sang the national anthem at the Teague before the baseball game. That was awesome. He was really excited to do that, I understand.
Well, he needed 2 for the first pitch. They gave him a second. Take 2.
I wasn't going to mention that.
Well, that's all right. I appreciate that fact. He's like, let me do it again.
Yeah, he did. He bounced it the first time, which I think actually made Joel feel a little bit better when he finally gets to throw out the first pitch.
Right.
Because he's been rained out every time he's been scheduled to throw out the first pitch. But, yeah, and then they went over to STM and had a pep rally and like a pickup basketball game. And
did he play?
Dude,
I got duded.
Play.
Oh, right.
He was throwing half court and making them.
No kid.
3-pointers all day long,
right.
half court making it. So I think that people should vote for him for that reason,
Right,
if nothing
right.
else. And then, like I said, to round it out, he actually went over to Lafayette General, so you'll see that tonight. That was where he was treated for, his heart condition.
Yeah.
And he sang to some of the kids. So a really special treat for those kids in the pediatric unit.
Well, that's what makes his story
Yeah.
so much better. It's just not a kid, just not a musical talent
Right.
who is on his second TV
Right.
show. For all intents and purposes, he should not be here
That's right.
right now.
Right.
So he is taking advantage of that
Right.
by following his dreams, which is a nice story. But, and he came back, he took a year off from school
Yeah.
because, he was
He was-
incredibly sick,
right.
if not deathly sick.
Right, he was.
Recovers from that because it was a virus. So when the virus left the heart, he
Yes.
recovered. And I know that because he sat right there in the seat.
Oh,
So hopefully he'll
nice.
come back.
Yes.
We'll see if he big times us when he
Right.
wins, right? We'll see if he big times us when he wins. But he came back, played basketball for, Danny Broussard.
Right.
And, now has gone on. He was on The Voice, came up short there. And, he's in the Final Four. Final Four of American Idol, which we vote tonight.
Right. So
Okay.
voting is tonight. So assuming that when Mackenzie will say that when he makes the top 3 tonight, people can start voting right away. There's 5 ways to vote, and you can vote 5 ways to vote. You can text. You can call. You can vote online at americanidol.com/vote.
Okay.
You can vote on the app. So if you download the app on your phone, it's the Fox Now app. And then you can also go, there's a Google module that you can actually Google vote. You just Google American Idol vote, and the Google module will come up, and then you can vote that way 10 times each way. So tonight you have to vote via text and calling the 1-800 number. That will stop tonight. You'll no longer be able to do that past 11 o'clock tonight. You can continue voting the other 3 ways through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So get your 10 text votes in, get your 10 phone call votes in tonight, and you can work on the other 3 ways. But you can vote up to 50 times.
Do we have a hashtag you want to do? Do we hashtag vote Mackenzie or something?
Yeah, LFT votes Mackenzie.
Oh, LFT votes
Yep.
Mackenzie.
Yep,
All right.
that's it.
All right. You sure don't want to make it easier than just hashtag vote Mackenzie.
Well, it's all about Lafayette.
It's all about
too.
Lafayette.
Loving,
All right. No, it's about him.
No, it's all about Lafayette loving Mackenzie
All
and
right.
voting him into the top.
All right, we want to thank Sidra for coming on by, Charles Wyatt for coming on by, and Terry Huval for joining us. We will talk with Joel next week. We want to thank Dylan and Clint and Alan Michael as well. Be sure to see if Clint is on American Idol. All right, thanks for tuning in to Sport of Politics. We will be back next week with another edition on Acadiana Sports Station 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com.